The human brain operates through two interconnected layers that constantly influence our daily lives. These layers, known as the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, work together in ways that challenge our understanding of our own thoughts and actions. Modern neuroscience has provided us with remarkable tools to examine neural activity and explore how the unconscious mind functions. Through these scientific advances, we have discovered that invisible mental processes, which are essential for our survival, drive much of our behavior without our awareness. Unconscious biases continuously shape our emotions, perspectives, and self-image. These hidden influences frequently affect our perceptions and the choices we make. Understanding the significance of the unconscious mind is crucial for discovering what motivates us and how we interact with the world around us. The two layers. When we attempt to understand human behavior, we typically believe that our actions are conscious and planned. However, modern research reveals that most of our actions are actually automatic and unconscious. While it remains difficult to recognize all of our automatic behaviors, we now understand that implicit influences continuously shape our actions and thoughts. This phenomenon is directly related to our brain structure. The human brain can be understood as having two overlapping layers, the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. These layers interact with each other constantly, making it challenging to determine which behaviors and thoughts result from each layer. Recent advances in neuroscience have enabled us to measure neural activity and gain deeper insights into how the unconscious mind operates. We now know that unconscious processes, which are essential for our survival, drive a significant portion of our behavior. It is important to move beyond the traditional understanding of the unconscious as merely a source of repressed desires, as taught by Freud. The modern understanding of the unconscious reveals it to be more sophisticated and connected to reality. It plays a crucial role in perception, memory, attention, learning, and judgment, even though these processes remain inaccessible to our conscious awareness. Additionally, unconscious biases frequently influence our perceptions and choices, while unconscious factors shape our emotions, worldview, and self-image. Therefore, recognizing the importance of the unconscious is essential for understanding what motivates us and how we interact with the world. An artificial construction. Throughout history, many people have debated the distinction between the conscious and unconscious mind. In ancient Greece, philosophers dedicated themselves to developing theories about the human mind, though they did not reach satisfactory conclusions. In the 18th century, the German philosopher Immanuel Kant addressed the psychology of the unconscious, proposing that we form an image of the world within this part of our mind. In the 19th century, scientists began addressing empirical psychology. The German psychologist Wilhelm Wundt, one of the pioneers of what became known as New Psychology, can be considered the most prominent figure in unconscious studies during this period. Many believe he transformed psychology into a recognized science. Based on current neuroscience research, we understand that our unconscious mind plays a fundamental role in our lives. Only approximately 5% of our cognitive function operates consciously, while the unconscious controls the remaining 95%. One of the crucial functions of the unconscious is processing visual data. The human brain dedicates approximately 1/3 of its resources to this process. Regarding vision, what we see is not exactly what we are looking at. Modern neuroscience teaches us that all our perceptions are illusions, as we perceive the world indirectly. Our unconscious mind interprets the data it receives, creating a unique model of the world for our conscious mind. Therefore, the world we perceive can be considered an artificial construction shaped by unconscious mental processes that modify sensory data based on our experience. Our unconscious mind plays a critical role in forming the reality we experience. Fascinating and complex. Memory represents a fascinating and complex aspect of the human mind, though it does not function as we might imagine. The traditional view of memory compares it to an enormous archive, as if our brain recorded all events with perfect accuracy. However, this view does not accurately capture how human memory actually works. Modern neuroscience questions the reliability of our memories, as they may be incorrect or distorted regarding past events. Science has established that the human mind filters the data it receives, retaining only what is relevant. Furthermore, memory changes over time and social interactions affect our recollections. Despite these distortions, human memory is considered efficient and accurate in most situations, particularly when survival is involved. Memory enabled our ancestors to recognize dangers and remain alive. However, we are susceptible to false memories. Comments or suggestions from other people can induce them. Despite being imperfect, human memory can form a coherent understanding of our life experience. The social connection. Humans possess an innate ability to evaluate social behavior, suggesting that feeling connected to others is fundamental to our species. Our social connections are so essential that their absence can cause both physical and emotional suffering. Brain mapping studies have revealed that social pain activates the same brain structure involved in the emotional component of physical pain. Therefore, social rejection is not merely emotional pain, but also affects our physical well-being. A lack of social connections represents a significant risk factor for health, comparable to smoking, high blood pressure, obesity, and sedentary lifestyle. Some scientists believe that the need for social interaction was a driving force in the evolution of human intelligence. The abilities of social cooperation and social intelligence were crucial to human survival and distinguished humans from other primates. The importance of social connection for humans is a fundamental characteristic of our existence, shaping our evolution, brains, and ability to understand and cooperate with others. Far beyond words, nonverbal communication plays a significant role in our social interactions, as it conveys powerful messages that may conflict with our spoken words. Much of nonverbal communication is automatic and occurs without our knowledge. It has unconscious origins, making it a valuable source of information about our feelings and mental states. Our gestures, posture, facial expressions, and other nonverbal aspects of communication contribute to how others perceive us. Animals, such as dogs, can read human social cues and understand our body language. Nonverbal communication extends far beyond simple gestures. It involves a complex system of body language, voice quality and tone, pauses, and use of personal space. The expression of emotions likely provided an advantage in the survival of our species. Additionally, many aspects of nonverbal communication may be innate and automatic remnants from earlier stages of evolution. Our actions and behaviors, whether conscious or not, communicate information to others and can affect their expectations and how they respond to us. For example, telling a child that mathematics is difficult to learn can lead them to struggle with calculations, while telling them they are intelligent can help them develop more quickly. The role of categories and stereotypes. Our brains naturally tend to categorize people and things as a strategy to process information more efficiently. Categorizing allows us to simplify our environment, speed up reactions, and facilitate navigation through our complex world. Our brain performs this function continuously. When we encounter an object or person, our mind automatically attempts to place them into a category we recognize. Subsequently, our evaluation of these objects or people is often influenced by the category to which they belong, rather than considering their individual characteristics. However, categorization also has disadvantages. It tends to polarize our evaluations, making objects or people categorized as belonging to the same group appear more similar than they actually are. This occurs because our unconscious mind simplifies our environment by removing details it considers irrelevant, which can distort our perceptions. Stereotypes are examples of categorizations that affect our evaluations of people based on race, religion, gender, and nationality. Although we may attempt to consider people as individuals, our minds can resort to social categories to make judgments, which, though inevitable, can create problems in human relationships. However, it is possible to fight against these unconscious disadvantages. The key is striving to see people as individuals, looking beyond the categories to which they belong. This effort can help us overcome our unconscious biases and treat people with fairness and individuality. Group behavior. Humans have a long history of living in groups. However, due to competition for resources such as food and water, there has been significant competition and conflict between rival groups. Although it may not seem obvious, the sense of us versus them was fundamental to the survival of our species. Scientists describe groups in two ways: the in-group, identified by the pronoun we, and the out-group, identified by the pronoun they. This categorization relates to how a person perceives themselves in relation to a group. Our identification with groups can change depending on the situation, particularly when we understand that in-group identity also affects our self-esteem, behavior, and sometimes performance. For this reason, identification with groups forms an important part of our self-image. Problems arise when we discriminate against people from outgroups simply because they belong to the other side. However, similar to stereotypes and categorizations, it is possible to reduce discrimination against outgroups, promoting a more just and less combative society. Feelings and unconsciousness, our identity and personality are dynamic and changeable. We change as we age and in different situations, depending on circumstances and the social environment in which we find ourselves. We are capable of maintaining multiple identities simultaneously. We can discriminate against certain individuals while consciously condemning prejudice. This happens because, most of the time, our feelings have unconscious origins. Understanding our own feelings is challenging because unconscious and contextual data construct them, and our physical state influences them. Changing our physical state, such as forcing a smile, can affect our feelings and make us happier. Therefore, it is important to broaden our perspective by considering how our mind works, enabling us to understand ourselves better. However, it is essential to approach self-understanding with humility and skepticism, without pressure to achieve specific results. The above-average effect, inflated self-assessment, is a common tendency that causes people to overestimate their abilities and competencies. This is known as the above-average effect. This phenomenon can occur in various contexts. Interestingly, although many people recognize that excessive self-evaluation can be problematic, they often believe this applies only to others, not to themselves. This can be attributed to ego defense, a common tendency in which our ego struggles to maintain a positive self-image, even when that image is not entirely accurate. It is important to note that, in many cases, our self-image is not well aligned with the objective image others have of us. This occurs because our conscious mind often defends our self-esteem and self-image, even if it means ignoring or distorting information. Motivated reasoning is the term used to describe our mind's tendency to seek evidence that supports our prior beliefs and conclusions, even when those beliefs are not objectively true. This helps us maintain a positive view of ourselves, feel in control, and justify our preferred beliefs. The human mind can choose among several possible interpretations of reality to create a narrative that fits our desires and beliefs. Thus, we often believe we are dealing with objective facts when, in reality, we are interpreting events according to our previous conclusions. To understand human behavior, we often assume that our actions are conscious and planned. However, current understanding reveals that most of our actions are automated and unconscious. The complex functioning of the human mind operates through two interconnected layers, the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. The complexity of the human mind extends to memory, which, contrary to the notion of an infallible archive, is susceptible to distortions and contextual influences. Social connection is inherent to our nature, and its absence can cause both physical and emotional pain. Nonverbal communication, often unconscious, serves as a powerful tool in our social interactions, transmitting emotions and intentions. In summary, our mind represents a duality where the unconscious and conscious intertwine, shaping our perception, behavior, and understanding of the world. Recognizing and understanding this complexity is essential for better knowing ourselves.